hear about building your dream. We have moderator Dr. Carlos Margo.
Hi, good morning. This is Carlos Margo. I serve as a dean for the Center for Advanced Training and Apprenticeships at South Texas College. We do everything that is workforce training related, anything that is non-credit, industry recognized certifications, credential, short-term training, anything and everything that has to do with business and industry training. And I'm very honored to be here with the esteemed panel that we have here today, titled Building Your Dream, a Conversation with Entrepreneurs. So any aspiring entrepreneurs out there, anybody who has a business, who would like to grow their business, our goal is to provide you with relevant, timely tools so that you can take back with you to implement on your own. So what I'm going to do right now is allow the panelists to introduce themselves, give a bit of an overview. And before I do that, however, I do want to say thank you to the panel for being an integral part of regional economic vitality, because what you do is the engine and backbone of economic development. You're providing services, product, and most importantly, jobs that benefit families on a compounded manner. So thanks for all what you do. I know it's a 24/7 job that you have, and I'm eager to learn more about what you do. So I'm going to start with Mr. Ramon Mery, who's going to tell us about his business, and then we'll proceed to your introductions.
Okay. So hi everyone, my name is Ramon Mery. I'm the CEO and founder of Lakeway Foods and Greenway Construction. And we'll talk about the background later, right? Okay, so I have a bachelor's degree in agricultural engineering. I have a master in science degree on molecular biology, and I have an MBA, the master in science out of Texas A&M, and an MBA out of UT. So I'm a hybrid, literally, both Aggie and Longhorns. And so I'm originally from Mexico. I started. Every one of us start entrepreneurship in different circumstances. My circumstances, and I agree with Dr. Segovia's views on it is really important how you present yourself and how you represent yourself in life. So I was working for Dow Chemical in the beginning. I was going towards a corporate ladder, and circumstances changed my route. My mom had cancer, so I had to quit. I chose to quit to be with her, and that's how I started. I left my corporate career and started my entrepreneurship career. Later on, as everyone has talked about community and all, once my mom passed, I got an offer back to go back. But I couldn't because I had 16 families that depending on my work now, and it was the first time I experienced being responsible for people's lives. So I decided not to go back into my security, my job security, because being an entrepreneur is a tough decision, and it's a tough path, especially in the beginning where you come from a very secure scenario, and then you come into a very insecure scenario. So that's what changed my life, my path, and what inspired me the most was just doing good for the community, doing good for people, being responsible for people, and just making people happy. So,
Elizabeth?
Hi, good morning. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Chavez. I am the VP of Employee Development and Community Engagement with Junior's Supermarkets. My background is completely different from retail and grocery. I am also an instructor, a professor at Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center. My professional background is actually mental health, but when I came on board with Juniors, it was to help really just establish what we know as human capital, and really just draw out on the strengths perspective within our employee base. So that's what my job is within Juniors Supermarkets, and then there's a little more foundational reasoning as to why I'm within the grocer the grocery business, but that's in a nutshell why I'm up here. So thank you very much for having me. And I've been with juniors technically or officially for a little under 3 years. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Good morning. My name is Isaac Smith. I work with Matzo Building Materials. Born and raised here in the Valley on the RGV. I actually used to play basketball in this gym. The courts here when it was a civic center, so that's pretty cool. If you guys remember that, the city transformed this place, so it's a great place to be here. To be here in this space, using it for growth and development. So we own and operate Matzo Building Materials of the Rio Grande Valley. We have 4 locations: San Benito, Harlingen, Palmview, and obviously the great city of Pharr. And we have 210 employees across the 4 locations, and we supply building materials and retail needs to the community with over 30 vehicles, and we've been in operation since 1969. I went to UTPA back in the day, so I'm a Bronc. I'm going to stay a Bronc. I'm going to die a Bronc. So, and I graduated with my bachelor's in business administration. So, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Isaac, and thank you all of you for everything you do. I'm going to start with some different questions now, starting with Mr. Ramon Mery. I know you shared a lot about how you started, the background, the context, which is very interesting. Could you share with the audience what were some of the challenges in starting off? I mean, obviously you're very successful right now. You have everything from, I think you mentioned to me earlier, maybe some growing, I guess, perhaps, but definitely a lot of supply chain management, warehouse distribution, making sure that the produce gets to the juniors, gets to the other supermarkets so we can get it to our tables. And it takes a lot, but what are some of the challenges that you can share that you have overcome in your process to become successful?
Thank you for complimenting my introduction. Yeah, so we in Lakeway, we import and we distribute produce to major retailers in the U.S. and food service operators. We cover basically nationwide. We specialize, of course, in Texas. Our biggest customers are in Texas, but we also do many states as well. We grow some of that, but the majority is from other growers, both from Mexico and the U.S. So going back to the question, what challenges? I mean, we could talk about challenges for a long time, right? And I think challenges change along the path of an entrepreneur, depending on the stage, right? The beginning, and then there's the growth, which is a very challenging stage, and then to maintain, which is also very challenging. Once you grow, you have to be able to maintain what you've done, because there's competition, there's changing circumstances all the time, there's government regulations that change over time, there's tariffs, there's many things that will affect your business. So challenges, I think the first challenge is being alone. I would say that's one of the main challenges when you start your path as an entrepreneur. So I tend to talk to my peers and tell them, you know, like when you are an entrepreneur, you're your own company. There's fear, right? And why fear? Because when coming from a company that you work for, you look above, you have your boss, right? When you're your own company, you look above and there's God. So you got to be well with God, right? So, and that takes, I'll talk about that later on acting good, which resonates with what Dr. Segovia's talked about, like being positive and being good. So challenges, I mean, you have people challenges, you have customers, keeping your customers happy, keeping your suppliers happy, and I think also all the financing and the source of capital is a challenge. So I would say the biggest challenge for me has been and a pleasure as well, is to keep your employees happy. So you got to find a way to keep your employees inspired, happy. And so if you keep your employees happy and inspired, the rest is going to be done by itself. You know, what does it take for that? It's highly complicated. We would have to talk a lot about that, and we never stop learning about that as well. So one of my main challenge in my business and stressful has been growth. There's some literature about the Death Valley. They call it the Death Valley, when you're growing and your customers push you to grow, keep growing, even though you don't want to grow anymore because you're comfortable at some position. But in order to survive, there's like a tipping point where you start out yourself and you're profitable with what you do because you do like 15 positions, 15 different roles at the same time. So you are profitable because you don't have expenses. But once you keep on growing, and in order to keep up with competition, you have to hire, expand, and do all of that. And that takes, it's an art, I think, is to keep everything in place, balanced. Customers, suppliers, employees, and the environment, the ecosystem that you guys, the community, everything in place, so it can be sustainable. So I think that's been the main challenge along the path, growth. Growth is hard, and once you make it through the Death Valley, then the challenge is to control, to sustain.
Thank you, Ramon. Very good. That's very insightful, because growth has to be controlled and it has to be well managed. And I think just linking that back to our prior panel, we had Dr. Paloma talking about all the different resources the Texas Workforce Commission has to offer. Again, I would make sure we use and leverage those resources as well if we're looking to expand. So thank you for that information. Now, Elizabeth, a slightly different question for you, and I didn't realize the background that you currently have right now, totally separate, but still related to retail and grocery, because you have to deal a lot with consumer behavior and the psychology behind that as well. I mean, it's an ever-changing dynamic. What mindsets do you have to help you become successful within that context?
So one of the things that we have made a name for ourselves, I don't know if you are aware, but Junior Supermarkets, we've been in operations for 45 years now. We are the last independent grocery chain here in the Rio Grande Valley. We have 9 locations to serve our community. We are primarily based in Hidalgo County. So one of the things that we have to make sure our mindset is community, comunidad, familia, family. Making sure that when our customers come in through our doors, they're not treated as just a number. They're not treated as just another customer, but rather, for the most part, we know a great majority of our customers by name. And it's really, really fascinating to see, because we've had grandmas bring in their grandkids, and now their grandkids are our customer. So it's more along the lines of having that mindset of that connection that has to exist within 2 people, within 2 individuals that, it could often very, very much become transactional. We don't want it to be just a mere exchange of goods for a fee, but rather, again, community, familia, comunidad. So I think that that's one of the things that's really kind of just set Junior Supermarkets aside, or apart rather, from our competitors. I love telling this story, and I hope I'm not taking too much time, but our location at the San Juan, we're on 495 and Raul Longoria. If you don't know the location, feel free to go, shameless plug here, right, for juniors. Feel free to go in there and check out our fresh tortillas de harina, our fresh tamales made daily. But that was an Albertsons back in the 90s. And Juniors is now there, and we've been there since 2004. So, we are very, very, very blessed. I know that the gentleman to my right mentioned, who's above us when we're talking, who's the head of, of a company. And Mr. Chavez is definitely very, very blessed. The Chavez family, we are very, very blessed. But God is our provider. Jehovah Jireh is our provider, and that is why we've been able to sustain the business for these 45 years.
So family-oriented is what I hear.
Yes.
Treating your customers like family.
Absolutely.
Great. And you have some of the best candy sections I've seen anywhere. Sour candy.
Hey, who goes to the candy sections? The kids, hey. So, but yes, it's all about family. It's all about familia. We definitely do want to make sure that our customers come back. So customer service is at our, one of our top priorities.
Thank you. And Isaac, let's talk about mental toughness here, because as a co-owner of a large enterprise that you have multiple locations and stores, how do you deal with what kind of mindset? Talk about that when it comes to not only the management of such a dynamic enterprise that you have, but dealing with so many different customers, deliveries on a day-to-day basis. If you can address that mindset, please.
Yeah, the mindset. It changes. It can change daily, right? As an entrepreneur, it's like some days it could be great, and some days it's like I don't want to do this anymore, right? And that happens. It's a daily thing. It's not for the faint of heart. I don't want to discourage anybody, but owning your business it's tough. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of issues. There's day-to-day operational issues, and it's just it makes it rewarding at the end of the day when you get to provide for your team, your family, and being able to get to serve. And a lot of our mindset comes from our faith. A lot of the things that we drive as leaders comes from our faith. Being servant leaders, doing to others. We have to lead by example. I was talking to Elizabeth just right now, and she was telling us about when we had our fire there in Pharr. They actually stepped up and they supported us when we were going through a difficult time a few years ago. And I was just telling her how grateful we were to them and their family. And I think that's what business is about, supporting people when you can, how to be a blessing, how to be encouraging. And at the end of the day, we have to make sure that, and at least for us in our business, we honor God in all things, and that we do. So that's really important. Dad's been involved in our business for many years. He's taken a step back, and he's kind of instilled a lot of these values. And where we get our values from, we get them from the Bible, right? So those are things we kind of instill of our employees and instill in our teams. And we try to do what we can to be successful on a daily basis, right? What are we driving? What culture are we driving to our team? What are we saying? Are we doing it with the intent to build it up and encourage, or the intent to tear down and destroy? So we want to make sure that we're encouraging on a daily basis. But again, back to the question: as how are we doing it? To be successful? How are we the mindset? You got to be adaptable. You got to continue to evolve. I was at a leadership conference at IHI last week in Orlando, and a lot of the talk among other retailers in our industry, in the hardware and building material industry, was what's AI going to do in our industry? Like where are we going to apply it? And it was interesting to see other retailers across the nation kind of toy with the idea of how can we implement AI in some capacity to try to enhance the business, right? And that's what we're trying to figure out. That's what I'm trying to figure out for my business, right? Where does it fit in? Do we have robots taking inventory in the store? Not yet, but it could happen. So we got to look for those things and be able to adapt and see what's coming, what makes sense, financial sense, right? What do we want to invest in? How can we adapt and modify our business? Because the scope of business is always growing. It's always changing. And you have to be able to modify your business and adapt to ever-changing markets and market conditions and consumer buying habits and spending, and the list goes on and on and on. So I can tell you, a family business, it has its days. She knows she's nodding her head. She knows from experience. I work with my family on a day-to-day basis, and I'd be lying to tell you if I said it was fun every day. But it is rewarding, and we're blessed beyond what we deserve. I'm a big believer in that. So,
Thank you, Isaac. And the common denominator or common thread here is take care of your employees, take care of your customers. Lead with service, and that's what I'm hearing. So that's very true and timely, especially with today's customers and today's employees. They just need that attention to be able to, you as a leader, to serve them and provide them what they need, is what I'm gathering. So thank you for that information. Ramon, very briefly, maybe a couple of bullet points. I know you might have already touched on this a little bit, but what would you consider a few key factors in the success of your produce business?
So I would say, first of all, for any entrepreneur here that is thinking of starting their own business, I think perseverance is a key factor. You have to be really perseverant. And also, I would advise people that are thinking about starting their own business, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable. That's really important. So comfort is not for entrepreneurs. So you gotta be really uncomfortable for a period of time and persevere. Because people that want to start their own business to be comfortable, I don't see that formula working. It might work for a small percentage of businesses, but not for the majority. So that's something you need to think about. Also, I think support, if you're married or you have a partner, I think your partner support is crucial also. They have to be bought in to what you're about to endeavor. We talked about you have to have good intentions, and that goes along with treating your customers, your suppliers, your employees well, being positive thinking, because that's gonna push you up. And don't be afraid about having fear. I actually think fear is a powerful feeling as long as you can or manage to direct your fear, because it's a very powerful motor. So people say be fearless. I would say be fearful. So have fear, but know how to manage your fear.
Thank you for that. Elizabeth, I have a question. I know COVID-19 just affected businesses mostly permanently, just organizations in general. Even we at South Texas College had some permanent changes as a result. How did the pandemic change the way you operate?
It was very difficult on so many different levels. Just again, the relational aspect of when you go visit your grocer, the interaction between yourself, your cashier, other customers or what have you. So that part, a lot of us really suffered from that. We ended up utilizing self-checkouts, but that was a crash and burn. And what you see in a lot of the self-checkouts at the larger retails, it's not really turning the dividends that it was intended to. I think one of our biggest takeaways is just, again, that the sense of compassion for each other as human beings, the relational aspect of grocery shopping. Not a whole lot changed specific to that component or that part of grocery shopping. But cleanliness, sanitation, all of that, obviously we continue to strive to provide a safe environment for not only our customers but our employees as well.
Thank you for that information. Isaac, the same question for you. I know in your line of work, in your business, COVID-19 essentially halted all supply chain and distribution. At one point, there was nothing probably available. Same thing for most businesses. And all of a sudden, a couple of years later, you have lumber, but this price of lumber skyrocketed like crazy, among other things. How did you manage to do that year and several years after COVID?
Yeah, I think you can, as a business owner, you can look at your business pre-COVID and post-COVID and say, hey, how did it change? And I think everybody that's an entrepreneur or business owner would say the same thing. It changed in some scope or capacity. I mean, you had to modify what you did in order to adapt and to grow. And again, something that we reiterated and we talked about earlier is making sure that you adapt and modify your business. You have to grow with what the market conditions are. If you're not growing and adapting and changing how you're doing things, you're dying. So I think for us, and as a business, as a retail supplier, I mean, we had to change some of the things that we were doing, change some of the business models, some of the strategies, some of the product selections. A lot of things moved online, and everybody saw it because everybody was at home buying stuff online, and you had to change. Some of those product categories changed, so we had to modify our product selections and what we offered, and kind of hone in on a few different niches that we have, on the delivery side and our door shop, and a few things that you couldn't get online. Right? You can't get mixed paint online. You can't get cabinets and certain flooring. So we had to modify what we're doing. But I'm gonna reiterate what Mr. Ramon said right now. As far as there's no growth without the growing pains, right? Anytime you want to grow in anything that you do, there's going to be growing pains involved, and that's just part of the natural process of things. And it's not always fun because change is uncomfortable. We're all creatures of habit. We like to stay in our own comfort zones, and we like the things that we like and do. But if you want to get out there, you're going to be uncomfortable. If you want to grow, it's going to be uncomfortable, and that's just the part of it. It's going to be something that you have to deal with. And as an owner, we have to kind of push that. Hey guys, I know it's uncomfortable, but let's give it a shot. Let's try it out. Let's evaluate it, and then let's move forward and try to make it a healthy system for growth. So. And that's what we did with COVID and post-COVID, and that's what we've been continuing doing through all the challenges and everything going on. It's been a crazy past 4 or 5 years, right? So that's basically what we're doing.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, because if it's not COVID and business, it's something else. Hopefully not to that high degree of destruction, but there's always going to be something. So please understand that, and I take that message very clearly. Thank you for that, Isaac. Ramon, have you partnered with the city of Pharr, and if so, how has the Pharr EDC or the city of Pharr helped you as a business owner?
Okay, so now that I've been in this role for years, if I were to give you an advice that I didn't have when I first started, is reach out to all the resources that been exposed in this conference. There's many things out there. There's very valuable people that can help you with resources, advice that are there for you. So it's better early than late to have them with you. And I personally, I'm very grateful for all the support that I've been getting from our EDC, the Pharr EDC, Mr. Victor Perez, has been a very good advocate of our growth, our business. All his team, Lilibet, Janie, todos, they've been great to us, facilitating us, advising us. And one important thing that I see is when you guys have the same interests as your community's interests and the government's interests, I think it makes sense to grow. It makes sense to be a better company. So in this case, as we heard all the panel saying, Texas, they want to have Texas being the best state to start a business. Pharr is hosting and organizing all this for you. So I think if you are an entrepreneur, you're thinking about starting your own business, you're in the right place. So just take advantage, reach out, and you'll get many things that you never imagined.
Great, thank you for that. Elizabeth, I have a question for you regarding competition. And if you're in business, you're going to have competitors no matter what. That's just the way it is. Differentiation is key, I believe. But when it comes to competitors, sometimes it can get really nasty, it can get intense. What do you do differently to differentiate yourself from your competitors?
All right, so the difference is going to be, if you know our slogan is "We are the real meat people. And so one of the things that when you go to some of the larger retailers, and we won't mention their names, but their logo is red and the other one's is blue. Right? Okay. Y'all go, and this has been changing actually, and I have another funny story about that, and I might share it. Anyhow, we have an actual walk-up counter where you can order your meat, your cuts of meat. If you want it cut a certain way, you can order it a certain way. These other retailers don't. So I think that that's one of the biggest differences between us and some of these other retailers. Now, a number of years ago, remember I told you about that Albertsons building a few years ago? Okay. So when juniors stepped into that facility and we opened our doors, we ended up seeing a number of red-shirted individuals, and again, I won't tell you which competitor that was from, but a lot of red-shirted individuals walk into our stores and taking notes, okay? A few short years after they looked and scouted our store, they opened up a store, again, I won't tell you exactly where, but about within a mile's radius of that particular store. Yikes, I think I just gave it all away. Anyhow, you will see that a lot of their storefront is very similar, if not identical, to ours. Okay, so they saw that we were doing something right. They went, they grabbed it, they implemented it there. So we have differentiated ourselves enough to make some of the larger competitors make and take note of who we are and incorporate some of our strategies and operations in their practices. So we must be doing something right if we've been doing it for about 45 years. So, we're very, very blessed. Junior supermarkets, we are so thankful to each and every one of our customers. But again, it's what's helped differentiate us. We're the real meat people.
Well, that's good, and it's good to brand that with that slogan. And I think customer service is also key. You have to have that customer service, especially now. I don't know if some of you remember 10, 15 years ago, you'd walk into meat markets or you'd walk into auto supply stores. Sometimes you'd walk in there and the people would look at you like you smelled like manure. And that's like you're bothering them. It's like, why are you here? Well, I'm here to buy something. It's just, that's the way it was, but today's different. You can't do that. It's just, those days are over. And I think to the point where there's so much competition, you have to have that customer service as well. And I think Juniors espouses that as well. So congratulations for that. Isaac?
Imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? So that's what I was going to lead with. But for us, I think we again reiterate the way we can differentiate ourselves by looking at certain product categories, certain services, and be able to hone in on that. And we want to be different from a box store, right? So if you go to any of our locations, it's more of again, a hometown feel. A lot of the decor is designed with making it feel more like you're at a home versus at a big box retailer. We also put counters in certain designated areas for you to go find somebody. They're there, they're available, they're not hiding in the aisles. You can always find somebody. So the service is something where we can actually differentiate ourselves, and that's where we can be successful. So it's really important. I mean, we drive service on every position that we have is our number one priority, from our management team to our delivery teams to our inside store team, even to the people in maintenance. We tell them, hey, you know what? You want to make sure that every customer gets a good experience while they're at your stores. And how do you do it? You obviously with the one-on-one interactions with the customers, but also make sure your stuff is priced right. You don't have price issues. That your system's functioning correctly. People are being greeted. I even challenged the cleaning lady and tell her like, you know what? If the restrooms aren't clean, did you give your customers a good experience? Well, probably not if they're not clean, right? So it encompasses everything that we do on the service side. So you have to have a good presence, and you have to be able to drive that service, and that's what's part of it's like the recipe for success, a key part.
Awesome, thank you for that. That concludes my questions. So what I want to do now is give the audience an opportunity to ask questions with the same microphone being passed around.
Hi. I'd like to know what the biggest obstacle that you find in doing business in the RGV.
I'll go ahead and take that one, guys, if you're okay with that. Bridging the gap between the generational differences with our employees and just finding good employees that'll stick. I think that's, we have over 500 employees, and it's not easy to keep 500 employees happy. And you tag on to that, customer experiences and, those differences there. So we've got, we've got a healthy mix of millennials and Gen Xers and, some boomers that are, that are still in the mix. So I think that here in the Valley, that's been one of the biggest challenges that we've seen. I don't know if the gentleman to my right or my left can attest to that, but just finding good employees that stick, that's been one of our biggest challenges.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I mean, I would definitely second that. Finding just the right quality people, the right mindset that want to stay around. The RGV is a highly competitive market in a lot of ways, and you have to have the three B's, right? That we talked about with Pastor Rudy, bueno, bonito, barato, and you got to be able to do that and be able to support those needs. So it's a difficult business. Retail is very difficult in the RGV. I can tell you that for sure.
I agree with that as well, and I'm actually taking away from this forum some advice as well on all the resources that are being exposed here, because it's a struggle to find the right people to get to fill positions. So yes, I agree with that, and I'm taking myself some key learnings from this event with all the resources that are being exposed from the workforce services and all that.
Yeah, we have one question.
Hi there, my name is Mikel Aguinaga, and I am just starting off my business. I was the third place winner for the Ruby Red Ventures program in Mission, and my business is focused on making sugar-free and alternative pastries. But the reason that I want to ask a question is because I'm so early on in the process of beginning my journey as a business owner and entrepreneur that I want to build a community, one that is not only based around the focus of what I do, but that they also understand my values and they reflect it in their own way. I want to feed everybody, and I want to make sure that my product is good enough for everybody, but some people value it over others. How do I develop and nurture that community?
Well, I think that's a big challenge that you have as a business startup. So it's hard. It's hard, but I would advise. I think one of the best things that can happen to you is finding the right channel, the right customer, and once you research and get in touch with many customers that can support your product, as one of the key things in business, in my opinion, is finding a good base, a customer base first. Like I would focus on searching for that particular customer of your product that will endorse your product. It's not an easy task, but it's gonna take some time, it's gonna take effort, perseverance. But once you find that base customer, then it's easier for you to have sustainability, at least in a little portion, but that little portion will give you fuel to start opening other options. I would also reach out to shows, rely on shows. I did that a lot. Visit shows where your products or similar products of yours are being presented, and try to do network on those shows. A show that is particular to your industry, your products, is the best place you can get business and get ideas and do network with people that share your thoughts, your goals, your interests. And you never know, one thing takes you to the next. But yeah, focus on getting that particular customer that will endorse you, and the rest, will be easier for you. That's my advice.
We have about 120 seconds left. Should I allow you to respond, or do we have another question, sir?
I actually wanted to give him, number one, I want to congratulate you on your award. That's great. But I would also encourage you to contact our Director of Merchandising, Ms. Mery Estrada, at our San Juan Lake location. She meets with potential vendors every Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. So if you are a vendor in the house right now and you'd like a chance at putting your items into a junior's near you, contact our Director of Merchandising, Ms. Mery Estrada. And again, she meets with potential vendors every Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the San Juan location. And that is located on the corner of 495 and Raul Longoria in the city of San Juan.
Thank you
Good
for
job.
that
You
good
just did
information.
your first sales pitch. Good job.
Carlos, let's
sir.
do this. Let's have one short question. It may be a quick answer and a continuing conversation afterwards, but I'm going to go ahead and let him do the question and maybe a short answer and then maybe some continuing discussions
Sure.
afterwards.
Okay.
I've been reaching out to different departments, different agencies, and leading experts on concerning issues that I feel that ombudsmen need to have better training. How would you recommend, like similar instance to what you were explaining as far as having self-checkouts and the impact it creates for the customer and the business? So I see there's a pattern or a trend when entrepreneurs are building a business, they don't forecast far enough, they don't understand how these collective bargaining agreements are being handled, in the background. I always hear these words tossed around that, oh, we're working on it, and then there's no follow-up. And my main concern has been, how are we supposed to be collaborating as chambers of commerce or economic development centers when the information that is being reported on is insufficient or is inadequate or outdated, and now they're implementing new oversight procedures that are going to create a much more compliant, transparent process, yet not enough constituents have been able to provide feedback to improve our systems or operations or our future human development programs and how we devise our future agreements and how we basically create a standard of excellence or how we collaborate with resources that are supposed to be aligned in Texas with the best benefit or best practice and compete at a global stage.
So I think that you actually answered your own question here at the end. Maintaining a level of competitiveness when these types of self-checkouts cause such a disruption in our ability to, really just stand as an independent retailer. There's not a whole lot we can do other than remove that particular option as a self-checkout. Now, the larger retailers, and I know that we're very, very short on time, but the larger retailers, they have a little bit of wiggle room to be able to continue those types of scenarios for the customers. It's a frustrating situation for both the retailer and the customer. If you'd like to pick my brain a little bit more after, I'd be totally for engaging in conversation with you.
I would encourage everybody to have this continue with the conversations after this panel. For the interest of time here, I would like everybody to please give them an applause, please. They did a great job, very insightful, very timely information, so I appreciate all of your spending the time to be here today. So thank you for that.